A state of emergency declared in Atlanta after a massive rush hour fire Thursday caused this bridge on I-85 to collapse.
It's frightening and insane. Thank goodness no one got hurt.
Traffic backed up for miles, a standstill overnight. The long-term impact crippling, closing schools and forcing drivers to find alternate routes this morning.
Big mess, a really big, huge mess.
It's going to take months for them to fix it, which it's going to take a lot of patience.
The collapse of Atlanta's I-85 bridge this week put America's infrastructure back in the headlines. The reasons for the fire and the subsequent collapse are still under investigation, but the American Society of Civil Engineers has found that 23% of our bridges are either unsound or functionally obsolete. Donald Trump has said he wants to invest in infrastructure, but he has yet to lay out a plan. In the meantime, actress and comedian Yvette Nicole Brown is doing her part to make sure Americans realize how dangerous this problem is.
Once upon a time, Americans built the greatest public works project in history, the Interstate Highway System. Over 46,000 miles of roadway that connect us and bring us the things we depend on every day. Those roads absolutely changed our lives, and we're absolutely wearing them out. The highway system designed 60 years ago was never meant to handle the number of vehicles it does today. Think about it as if the highways are your favorite pair of jeans. Old, a bit worn, but you can't bear to part with them. Our real problem is we gain weight. We can just barely squeeze into our jeans.
And joining me now is Yvette Nicole Brown, producer and narrator of the documentary Be Prepared to Stop. And she's also the host of Sci-Fi's reality show Cosplay Melee. And of course, back with me is the Washington Post Jonathan Capehart, who's also always my co-host, so we always have him along as well. And of course, you know Yvette Nicole Brown from Community, those of you who are just tuning in. So, Ms. Yvette Nicole Brown, this is a really fascinating documentary, by the way. Congratulations on doing it. Some of the information in it, I think people understand. They drive over a bridge that's not in great shape. But some of the information was actually frightening. The ASCE, which gives a report card to infrastructure, has given an overall rate of D+ to America's infrastructure, poor, at risk, mostly below standard, with elements approaching the end of their service life, the conditioning capacity, serious concern, strong risk of failure, on and on and on. Our infrastructure, our roads are literally crumbling under us.
That's true. And when you think about it, a D+, would you eat at a restaurant that had a D+? Most of us would not, but every single day we're driving on roads that have that rating. And I think it's just that people don't know. And so we hope that Be Prepared to Stop kind of introduces people to infrastructure if they don't know about it and tells them that we have to find a way to fix it. Our Highway Trust Fund hasn't been increased since 1993, which is ridiculous when you think about it. There's been no increase. So everyone's afraid of taxes and all those types of things. But if it keeps the road safe for your baby to be in a school bus, it's worth it. And if it helps you, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, finish your sentence.
Oh, I was saying, and it also helps you get your things. Like, people forget that trucks bring everything. Everything in this room I'm sitting in came off a truck. And if the roads don't work, you can't get your stuff. So think about it from a personal standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me play the trailer just so you guys can see one more little clip of the film because it really makes that point that literally everything you have is trucked to you. Take a look.
Yes.
The bridges are old and just falling apart.
200 million times a day, motorists in the United States are driving over structurally deficient bridges in urban areas.
Most people do not realize that every tangible object, every piece of food they consume was most likely in a truck before it got to them.
Our only hope is for the American public to come to grips with the reality that we are 28 in the world on infrastructure investment.
And even one of the things you guys did is you talked about what would happen if 5 days without a truck being able to get to you. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's funny. One of my favorite shows is The Walking Dead. And actually, by the 5th day, we're pretty much ready for a zombie apocalypse at this point. You know, you don't have medicine. There's no milk or food in the stores. ATMs are empty. Banks are shut down. Like, it becomes literally a crisis across the world if you don't have trucks. So I think that when people watch the documentary, they'll see that this is something that greatly impacts them personally. It's the whole, just in the same way healthcare kind of got everybody up because it was like, well, it's my pills. It's my cancer. This is our road. And it's the street that you drive on. So we're trying to give it a personal bent so people can see it through their own eyes. And then maybe we can go to some town halls and start talking about, these potholes and these bridges, So it's a very personal issue.
And Jonathan, the reason that it isn't changing is because of this fear of raising taxes. Is there any will in Washington to do the basic thing that has to get done here, which is to raise taxes to fix these roads and bridges?
And the short answer is no. And I'm so glad Yvette brought that up in her response to you at the beginning of this segment, that the Highway Trust Fund hasn't been raised, correct me if I'm wrong, Yvette, since 1993.
1993.
And the tax money that goes into that fund is what keeps the roads and bridges in repair. And what I'm trying to figure out, and maybe Yvette, you know this, is how do we bridge the gap between members of Congress here in Washington who need to raise taxes in order to refill the trust fund and the American people?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, go on.
Yeah. We have to find a way to make people understand that this affects them. We're very reactionary instead of proactive. Like the bridge in Atlanta, we have to get that built back up. So everyone's scrambling to do that. But if we prepare the bridges and take care of them before they crumble, we would be in a better position. So we have to get people to understand that this is a crisis right now. This is not a crisis for next year or 10 years from now. We're in trouble right now. Our roads and bridges are in trouble right now. So it's things like this and time like this, Joy, that you're giving me that gets the word out.
Absolutely. The documentary is Be Prepared to Stop. It is phenomenal. I hope that everyone will tune in and watch it. And Yvette, with Nicole Brown, we happen to love the same show.
Yes,
so I know that we'll be watching Walking Dead tonight, the finale.
Finale tonight, yes.
And I'll see you on Talking Dead the next time you're on. You're really great.
Yes,
Thank
honey.
you.
Nice to meet you. Bye, Jonathan.
Bye. Great to meet you, too. Thank you to Yvette Nicole Brown and Jonathan Capehart. And Yvette's documentary, Be Prepared to Stop, will be available on Amazon on April 6th and on iTunes later in the month. Please check it out. BePreparedToStop.org is where you can get more deets. That is our show for today. Be sure to join us next week for more AM Joy. Keep it on MSNBC for the rest of your Sunday.